Hello there. Uh-oh. Thanks, Rachel. Jason, once again, I had asked James and Bailey to join us just for any technical or background questions that you may have. Thanks, James. Appreciate it.
Sounds good.
Charlie.
Johnny, you want me to go peek on Bailey?
Uh, we now have a quorum. It's not required. He was here if there were questions. I think either I or you can handle. He might be checking out the DSEC room.
Okay.
Since that's also tonight. So, okay, we are recording. I'm sorry, Jason.
No rest for the weary.
No, it's an all go. So,
All right.
we have a quorum.
We have quorum. Hopefully other folks will show up while as we get started, but we have a lot to do, so let's not dally much. Welcome all. Good to see you all. Let's approve the minutes as we're waiting for people to show up as well. We have the March 12th and April 2nd minutes.
Jason, can I just give a little background for full transparency, both on the
Please do.
recording and we do have members of the public listening in. The reason why the minutes are nothing more than the video, we checked with county council and that is legal. Minute taking is by very definition subjective. And in this situation, we wanted all transparency, didn't want a wisp, an iota of me or someone else, what's in your head and what did you say and translating in any way, shape, or form. We didn't want to do that considering this is a legal or administrative issue. So that's the rationale. You said what you said, and that's the official record. So that's just want to give background on why it's not normal or usual me typing things out, more for legal and transparency reasons.
Yeah. How do folks feel about that? I'm fine with that for the most part. I do think, while I understand, and there's all sorts of reasons why that's a good idea, and I think that's an excellent idea. The reason we have minutes is so we can go through and not have to live through the entire video as well. Yes, they're subjective. The whole point is, though, is that we can have something that's easily referenceable and encapsulates a little bit of that discussion, even if it's not going to be exhaustive. I guess as much as I'm reluctant, I actually think we should probably stick to our previous version of taking minutes as opposed to just posting the video. Does anyone? I also can't bring motion. So if people want to bring a different kind of motion to the floor, I'm willing to entertain those ideas.
Just in all fairness,
Go ahead.
just in all fairness, I will have to talk to county council if I can even take minutes in this, and considering this whole legal thing, I'm not arguing with you, Jason. It's your call. I'm sorry, you and rec members, it's your call. I just need to check to see what that is and then retroactively figure out what that is. I'm sorry, Charlie, I interrupted you.
Is it just for these deliberations? So these these 2 meetings, today's meeting and the last meeting are to be videos, and the rest of them will be note taking. Is that correct?
Previously, until we get into this, and we're just hypersensitive with the new definition of a meeting,
Okay.
that's the rationale. The other members know full well, I'm taking minutes as we go. It's usually typed up, but we're also talking about solar panels and ALSI. It's not really contentious, isn't it? Yeah. And so that's why, for legal reasons, county council chose to have this. I totally get you, Jason, and just to have something, but we just, yeah, if I'm hearing you and someone else and I'm writing something down, it would almost have to be a verbatim anyway. So that was the rationale.
Having taken minutes for the county before, and the city
Yes.
matter,
Yep.
it is an elaborate process and it is laborious if you want to take very accurate minutes.
Yeah.
So I definitely understand that it is not negligible, that it takes a lot of time. So all that said, do people want to keep these minutes, or do we want to have the sort of verbose versions?
I'm fine with keeping just for these particular meetings, just using a full video recording.
Any other comment?
I'm in agreement. I think that these meetings, the nuances that are clear when people speak and take turns, and when you make a conversational set of minutes, written minutes, it loses the nuance quite a bit. So I think that it makes sense. I mean, Sean's not expected to like go, and there was a lot of enthusiasm with this particular comment and not so much with this comment. I mean, that's like, it's all very subjective. So I get it. It's not easy for us to review, and all we can say is, hey, you can watch the minutes.
Yep.
You can watch the meeting.
Understandable. And I think with enough tools out there, people can grab those videos and make their own transcripts as necessary. So
Yeah.
I would accept that too. All right. Can I get a motion?
Motion to accept the
Approve.
minutes.
Yes.
Yes.
Second.
Great. Show of hands, those in favor of approving the minutes? Those against?
Cool.
Motion carries, minutes approved.
Cool.
Do
Thank
it.
you.
All right, so getting on to our cup at hand. The application process, will continue. Any other comments before we get started with the agenda? I meant to send out a little bit more detailed agenda, but I will lead us through it as I have it in front of me now. What I'd like to do is
Jason,
yeah.
just super quick, just the one comment that I had that we talked about yesterday. And I just want to make sure that this is more for you and rec members, that it's once again, it's really unfortunate that I need to say this, but it's come to our attention that a member of the public disseminated private contact information and that other members of the public contacted members. We take this very seriously. So county commissioners are aware, county council is aware, the administrator. You're here. Number one is we do not share your personal contact info, regardless. And it's unfortunate that came to pass. We respect and recognize the passion and your time and you volunteering immensely. And I just wish that other people would respect your private as well, your private information and who you are, the same as I would imagine that they would of other people. So I just want that on the record. We respect you and we would never share that at all, ever. And you're supported. And if anything, if you feel uncomfortable in any way, shape, or form, please let me know and we'll address it. So thank you for that quick little time. Yes, Michael.
Sean, I shared your county email address with someone. Is that
Hey, no, I'm a public official.
okay?
You can send that to Mars and whoever you want. I
That's what
signed
I
up for
thought.
I signed up for this. You did not sign up to have your personal private contact information shared. That you didn't sign up for that. Yep, I've been doing this for 30 years and anyone can contact me anytime in a professional manner. So yes, absolutely, Michael, not a problem. Jason, I'm done. And so rock and roll.
Great thing. Well said, Sean. Thank you. Appreciate it. Definitely. Okay, so a brief overview of what I think we should get done today. And I was hoping to prepare a little bit better some of these things in order so I could put it in chat, but I think it'll be fine if we just talk about it. So let's go over our mute that. Our current process. So we're going to look at the commentary and report that we have in front of us. And I think there is an idea to have a vote of if we want to have individual commentary or consensus for our report, not the letter, the full report. Our current trajectory is to talk about that as it's written right now, with individuals submitting the commentary sort of organized the way it is and presented the way it is, with a few additions, and we can go through some of that still. And then I think we should actually go through that draft to make sure that everyone's on board with what it says. Make sure that we at least see it. I don't know if we have to read it all aloud because that will take a long time. But like, I want to make sure everyone at least looks at what we're approving as a board, even if those comments were submitted individually, and still maintain that individuality. As we mentioned last meeting, consensus process is interesting, and I think that would be fun, but it is a very lengthy process, and I think the Talks Trash can attest that it is a very, very long process. And I think that's a better example of how long any sort of real consensus can take, and even then. So I think we should take a vote on that to make sure that we're all happy with that, but we continue with our individual commentary, and then we can work on this, our recommendation letter, this one pager thing that we have some draft language for today. We can edit all of that language and make sure that we can come to consensus at least on that letter. And I think we can vote on that and give our final vote recommendation a good bit of teeth to have as we continue to finalize that report towards that vote and goal. Then we can work on that letter for the rest of our time. We can add some additions, and then we can try and finalize as much of our packet and report this meeting, as well as with staff support for a few other pending things. We discussed last time aspects of individual comment from NREC members to be included as an appendix after our sort of combined report. And I think those should be submitted after this meeting in final. And I think we should make a little note about that in our report, or in our language. And then we meet next week briefly, I think no more than an hour and possibly less, to make sure that anything final in our report packet is what we want it to look like, and we get anything else done during that session. Most of that should be taken care of. I just want to make sure we have an opportunity to look at it all and make a final approval for what we voted upon. That's what I think we should do today. Any comment and or thoughts on that process? And I think also from staff, did I get that right for what we have planned?
In general, next week is not required. Things like formatting and that stuff, I can do legal, that's it. 90% of the report can be complete, like as you said, if a couple and I can share, I will be sharing this with you. If you all finish today and you're all comfortable with it, it's fine. But and the only other thing is you are voting on the report, not just your recommendation. And so that's up to you how detailed you want in this. But next week is not required, but if it is, then we're a go. I just want to
Right.
set those extra.
Um,
Do you want me to start
Indeed.
sharing this? Oh, I'm sorry.
next week is not required, but I think I'd like to call the meeting so that we have it on deck.
Sure.
If we get finished today and we really decide we don't want to have it, but I'd like to have like one opportunity left just to make sure in case anything comes up, but. Okay, I think sharing is good. Let's, with all that said, any discussion points about any of that? And did I capture enough of what the board considers to be accurate for our working here?
I just want to say something real briefly, and James can speak to this, but I think that the shorter the whole report is, the whole thing, the letter, whatever, we send to them, because they're not going to look at it unless it's brief.
Yeah.
And it has to be very succinct.
Agreed. And I think we'll find the draft language we have for our letter is half a page at best right now. And I think we're not going to make it much longer.
Okay.
So I think we should be on track for that. The report is kind of lengthy just because there's a lot of buckets. There's a lot of little details and people have submitted a lot of comments, myself included. But the idea is that that shouldn't necessarily be any shorter, but also is included as more reference, I think. Okay. Can I?
What you need, Jason?
Don't suppose I can do the takeover thing. That's not a thing here.
No, no.
Oh, that's
Yeah, if you want to, I can type so you all can see
Yeah.
the language. So, I will say as a preface to all members, and Jason and Cindy and I already talked, everything is red is newer than what you saw last week, and so that's why we wanted to bring it to your attention.
Let's stay on this page and review this. I think and I don't even know if this requires so much of a vote. If we haven't really changed our trajectory, we have this report that is an aggregate of our submissions. This is our aggregate language. We can, I think, make a mention of finding consensus on this letter, and I think that might be helpful, or at least if we have a vote on the recommendation, we can suggest what that vote represents as far as the letter contains all of the content we want to suggest the Planning Commission look at and consider carefully. It's just that our final vote represents a different kind of perspective on the actual CUP approval or denial process. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Okay. Take a look at that all. I'll just let you read that for a second. I'm going to bring up the report in case I need to move around it.
And Jason, just for this kind of a method, we don't need, you all are going to be voting on the entire report as one. So right now it's just, are you comfortable with this? Are you good? So we don't need to have a vote on each word or something like that. It's just
No.
are you comfortable? And then Charlie, your face right there. That was the one I think we are also afraid of. So yeah.
Cool. All right. Moving along. If anybody wants us to stop, please say something. Okay.
As we move forward, I'm going to turn this to black.
Sounds great.
So then there we go.
We all have all that. That's been previously mentioned.
Yep. This is all. One comment was that these headers will be on the top of each page. It's a formatting thing. You don't need to vote on that. I can do that after the meeting. This is all the same. This is everything you've been working on. Again, I can reformat the top. There's one recommendation that we turn the monetary into economic. Any issues with that, folks?
That sounds good to me.
I mean, I know the main section there is economic impacts, so economic impacts and economic impacts, sure.
Yeah.
That follows.
Okay, everything's the same, everything's the same. Okay, and then this is the last, oh, there's just two more. Jason, from what we talked about yesterday, I didn't see the board, you're technically a committee. If
Fair
that's
enough.
okay. Okay,
Please do change any mention of NRAC board to committee.
Yep.
I know from my part, I'm still going to be editing my additional comments. I don't, and I think we could vote on this too if you want, if it makes it helpful, but we should make sure that our language above includes the fact that, and I was working on language for this, where did I put it? That the individual members or individual NREC member comments, like from Charlie and myself, do not necessarily reflect the entire committee. I think we mentioned that, but I want to make sure that that's clear. We're not, I don't think we're voting on that part, although it is an appendix to this report.
And I also don't know if it helps to put the MD part and the, like, on my name, because that actually, when I'm talking about human health, I'm actually talking about human health. I mean, I kind of am an expert in human health. So I think that would be worthwhile to put on there from Charlene Carroll, MD, or something, or
Oh,
Dr. Charlene.
oh,
You're wondering
sorry.
what I'm talking about. I can
yeah,
see.
I had no, where is it? I thought you said MV. I'm like, where's an MV? I don't even, okay.
Yeah, no, you're not an MD.
Is
The,
that
I
okay?
mean, like PFAS are an endocrine disruptor, and they are probably potentially cancer causing, and we just don't freaking know. People have so much plastic in their bodies now.
At least some of them are, yeah. But it
Before
is
we move on, are we good with this language up here? Members, I'm seeing heads nodding.
I'm good with that.
I like that. I think I wrote
Yeah,
that.
I'm good.
Okay,
I think the only other comment from the above report that we sort of went through, I thought we discussed last time that each cell was going to be tagged with the person that submitted it. Was that not correct?
I heard, here we go with the video.
Yeah.
I
heard that too.
Okay. Jason, I just changed this.
I'm gonna be revising that anyway, so don't worry about it too much.
Once you vote, you can't revise though.
So that's kind of the point that I have. I don't know that everyone has
Oh.
submitted their personal statements. Those are an
That was,
appendix. Is that not?
okay.
That's what I wanted. I wanted to make that be separate from the report. This is not necessary. I mean, it's an appendix to the report, but
It's going to be all in the report. Everything submitted. So either here are your options. You take this out or you leave it in. But whenever I haven't received anything else in the 3 weeks that everyone's had an opportunity. And so, yeah, you are voting for whatever you submit to the planning commission. It's not like, this or that. So as
right,
we
that's
just, yeah,
kind of why I want next meeting to be anything that remains left over as far as the approval process. I thought this was going to be a separate part. It's part of the report packet, but it's not really something we need an approval upon, I thought, but I could be wrong.
no. Whatever you attach to the document is the document.
All right.
And so it's not there's no, I see James shaking his head. Yeah, it's like whatever you submit is what you submit and is
When,
public.
Sean, when is this document due?
22nd.
Well, technically by the close of business on the 21st. And so and whatever you do, whatever you add has to be, and that's the other thing, Jason, if you're going to be changing it, then that's kind of deliberation, which has to be public. This is why I want to be crystal clear. Everything in this document, and including what we're going to be talking about as the quick little half a page, it's all one thing. So it's not like, so that's why, I would recommend either making the decision, if you would make the decision to include this, and that's fine.
Can I
Everything
just
is
ask, like, does anybody else want to submit a public comment? Because if people do, then we can take that next meeting, but I don't really know what anyone else wants. I could submit a public comment. I didn't, but if we're gonna take that extra meeting, then I could.
Does anyone want to still submit their own comment to be included as part of the NRAC membership? I still would like to revise mine. Sounds like Sydney might. Charlie, it sounds like you have yours here.
I'm
And
fine with what I have.
And Keith's okay with what he has. Okay. Indeed.
Jason, are your comments substantive? Because and Jason, I'm not Jason, James, I'm going to ask, I don't normally see, and it's fine if you do, but I don't normally see additional individual comments in submitted recommendations. We had it in Talks Trash, but that really wasn't a recommendation to an existing body. And so I'm just curious. And again, you guys do you all do what you want. But if Jason, if your edits are not substantive, and I did have one thing at the end that I wanted to ask you, so let's just get to that real quick. Jason, this is verbatim with what you wrote.
I know. That's why I'm not done with it. Like
That's what I'm saying.
submitted this as a draft that was not
Right.
intentionally finished. And I was not aware or really understood that this particular part of the report was going to be voted upon. I didn't think we talked about this last time. I thought we weren't going to have that be required, but
It's not in the agenda that we were voting on it.
the agenda contains very little about voting. So
Oh.
it's in my agenda actually, but that's because it's in front of me and no one else. I think I tried to submit this to Sean last night and I don't think I attached the file properly, so that's on me. But anyway, so I think in order to make this all make sense, I need to make my own revision. In which case I need to spend time with that and do that. But that is then something that I'm submitting back for review, and then we must review it. So I understand that.
And
I don't mind until next week if people need to still fix up their work.
I think that's the best plan then. Now-
there is secret hidden option 3. I'm just letting members know. This document is part of today's minute. It is on the website.
Right.
These comments Charlie and Jason, your comments can always be referenced. So they technically don't need to be part of the report because it is it's on the website right now and will be on there forever. So if the intent was for you to provide in written testimony, I use that word loosely, to have that out into the universe so that you can point to it, it is on there. So if you want, you can take these comments out and not worry about it, and you can always reference the current NRAC webpage where it is right now. And then you don't need to worry about anything, and we just go right to the report is the objective comments by members. It's an option.
Yeah. I don't know that I'm happy with that option.
Okay.
I would rather, personally, I'd rather take time to make sure that my document, is the draft that I need it to be. And I think that it would be best, seeing that you want to all have that approved as part of the report. We submit that afterwards, or we approve that later after, final revisions. So, that's what I'm suggesting. I think that'll give us more time, to hear from other people, to have their revisions as well, or in case anybody else wants to submit their own. I think that's a pretty good plan. But since I didn't know that that had to be done today, I did not have time for that. And I don't think we should take the time to spend on me live editing this entire letter of my section. I do think we should work on our report section and main letter. I think that would be a better use of our time. I think we should finalize that as much as we can so that we can get that into a pretty good shape. Comments, discussion?
I have a quick question. Mostly just so I can understand your guys' structure for this. You're going to provide your appendix with the kind of the tabulated information. But before you provide your final recommendation, you're going to have each of those subsections with your own individual comments. Is that correct? And then it goes into the determination or
Well,
the consensus.
And okay, so first off, this report, when we discussed it last time, I thought that all of these sections would have commentary or tags about who provided it. I do not see any of that here. I provided my tag for the sections that I wrote, which are present, and I see no others. Now, I think we discussed that was going to be present. If that's not the case, then we need to figure that out. But right now, this report is not done in my mind. If that's what you mean. And then I think that providing commentary, personal letter, that is how I'll state it for now, from individuals, as Charlie and I have included as NRAC members, is important, at least to me. And I don't think that that's necessarily should be separated from the NRAC report, or only exist as public commentary.
Okay.
James, what we're planning on doing is the letter will be the first thing, and that's going to be the half pager, and then all of this will come after.
Okay. That paints a much better picture. Thank you. For
So
some
it
reason in my mind, I was
leads with
thinking
the
this
decision?
private information would go first.
Yeah.
Yeah, the letter will go first.
The letter will be the decision?
Yes.
That will contain our decision, yes.
Yeah, okay. Go ahead,
Michael?
Michael. I'm sorry.
When I was submitting comments to this form that's on the screen, at that time, I did not know that the comments would be public and attributable. If I had known that, I may have spent a little more time on crafting. I thought I was sending stuff to Sean for our internal communication. And I personally did not submit my comments with the expectation that my name would be associated with them out in public. I did not know that that was the intent, and I would have spent more time on word crafting what I said. So I am not in favor of putting names in these boxes here. By all means, names with the letter that that folks may choose to put, that are crafted and worked on and said just the way you want it to be out in public. I'm all for, but I'm not in favor of putting folks' names. I'm not in favor of putting my name.
And and follow up, I think that was my confusion. I did not interpret it that way, and I apologize if that was said, because the emails that we sent out to you members included that it would be your thoughts only coming to me, that it wasn't attributed to any one person. And so I think my expectations were much more of what Michael was saying. And I think it also, this is supposed to be a process of all of NREC, not individuals. And so I completely agree. If you're going to write something separate, your name, fine. But in my mind, of what we had discussed and what I had been emailing individually with the members, like Charlie with you earlier today, was the expectation that names would not be attributed. So I don't want to erode or question, I don't know if the word is trust or whatever, but that's why it flew over my head in the last meeting. I had never thought of that, because we had set a structure up of individual connection, and then everyone saw this. They saw their language, and Charlie, thank you for correcting me. I did totally miss the language that you submitted outside the boxes as a double check. And so I just want to make sure that the other members are understand where I was coming from as your staff. That's why it never even clicked in my head, Chair, that was attributed primarily because of Michael's comments.
All right. That's at least clear. Clearer. What do people feel like? I understand Michael's thought on that. That was the point of consistency I made last meeting, of like, we do at least need to be consistent. I think with where we're at, if people want to remove their personal monikers and notes from their submission to the report sections, I'm fine with that. For the most part, I think that data still exists, and that's fine. And that's probably the easiest way to handle it. My understanding was that by Monday this week is when people would have revisions and all of that inclusion, or indeed revised language based off of last meeting's commentary, which I don't think was significant. So,
Sydney did contribute. I think you two were the chair and Sydney were the only two that added content that is in here. And so that's why I was saying it
there
was
is
different
different
than
content,
what,
yeah.
So just
No, that's it.
I was originally under like a similar impression as Michael was, and so like I feel like my original comments were like a little bit more like lazy and like not really like because I thought this was more of like we were like preparing to like do all this at first, and then I realized, and that's why I sent my updated comments. So like I would be down to like have my name by it if we need to, but I would also like to go back and like edit it maybe first. So I don't know. Maybe I think no comment, no names would be the easiest route. And I did like what Sean said about how this recommendation is like from us as a team, us as a whole committee, not
That's true.
individual people. So, yeah, I think no names is best, but if it makes people feel more comfortable, we can also do names.
I think with the both intent and what we have to work with, it makes better sense to remove names from this section. I do think it's important that everyone is happy with the language they've submitted, even if their name isn't attached. Making sure that your content is how you want it to appear is the key part. I don't really care if names are attached or not. I'll think about if I want to take my initials off of things, but that's about the only thing remaining. So let's keep that and not make more work for ourselves. The content myself, I think that I've submitted is intact here as far as I can tell. So, do we need to vote on
that's what JAS mean. I never understood what JAS mean. Sorry, I
my
can take
initials
these
and a
out.
date? Yep.
Okay, I thought it was like a code or something. I'm like, I had no idea. I can take those out.
Right.
I will take all of these out.
And the
and that
date
way-
doesn't really matter either, so you can take
Okay.
that whole section out, but leave the little headers because they help organize within.
Nope,
the-
absolutely. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna, I will take that out. I hear your approval. And if we, and I'll make sure, you don't need to see me hit delete, but
Yeah.
just to make sure that would be out. Okay,
Um,
so,
and then the only other thing for this report is to make sure that these hyperlinks do in fact make it to the PDF. I think that they are. It looks like they are. But hyperlinks can get stripped out very easily if you do not publish the PDF properly. So do make sure of that when the final version is done. I am trying to get to the links for this section on air pollution, and they do not work for me. They are formatted, but they are not live hypertext links.
What section?
Go to air pollution, those links. If
they,
you're
right
in
here,
Word document, they will work, but in the PDF, they do not. So you have to make sure you publish the PDF.
Yeah.
properly.
yes, we'll do that.
Yeah, thank you, Jason, for bringing that up. I was also gonna say that about like PDF not going live and like hyperlink thing. For the economics section, basic economics of Coffin Butte landfill, and the PDF is not active.
Okay, I will do that.
I do also see. I don't know that I see my updated sections actually, now that I mention it.
Where?
Yeah, both under methane, greenhouse gas emissions for methane emissions. I have an updated section that is not present here, that was submitted. I can send that to you again, Sean, if you need it, but I don't see, I have additional documents and some additions to this section that were dated 4/7, I believe.
Oh, why don't you go ahead and continue and I'll look for that.
Okay. So then there's a few more things to update there. Yeah, it looks like all the things I'd written from 4/7 are not present actually, now that I look at it. I have not had time to review this previous to today because I knew we were gonna be looking at it right now.
I want to see. Okay, this was in there. Are you looking at your comments or I see your modified. I'm looking at right here. I'm
I
not
sent
seeing
you
any
this-
difference.
I
I'm
sent
looking at it right now.
you-
I didn't see any difference except for your comments, your tags about the suggesting modified.
let me find it for you. So I can look at it myself. I have to find that file.
Here. Are you seeing? I'm not seeing any. I didn't see any changes in the structure.
Look in email, it'll be easier.
Wait, sorry, I'm a little confused about those links that we were saying don't work. So, because those those ones that we're kind of on them right now on the screen share, like they work in my Word document that I sent to Sean originally, but the PDF that he sent back doesn't work. You weren't saying that there's something I need to do, right?
No, no,
Okay,
we'll make
okay.
sure. No. We'll make sure. Jason, yeah, I was looking through. I didn't see any color difference or any other than the economic impacts.
Yeah, you don't have the right document then, so I will have to find it for you and send it again.
Yeah, you sent it at 11:59 on the 7th.
Yeah, I might have sent you the wrong file somehow. My apologies if that's the case. No, my file is my file is showing different things. Here, I can show you if you like, or I can
Just-
resend it to you.
Just email it to me.
Okay. Because I had elaborated on several different sections as well. I don't think I changed the date properly, but that's on me.
All right.
Jason, I just want to I want to express my appreciation for all the time that you have put into this. And Sydney and Charlie, I appreciate the time you guys have put in. Thank you.
You're very welcome. I appreciate that too. Okay. Do you want it now, or should I just send it to you later, Sean?
Now would be best because then I can just copy and paste in here with the potential of you all agreeing to it, and then we can put this one to bed.
Oh, I don't think that's likely, but we can try that. Because I have a lot of changes actually. So, I'm going to tag this onto today's message.
Just email it to me. If we're gonna meet next week, I'll just put it all together.
Okay. Okay, it's with you. Or will be momentarily. Okay, let's since the report needs some work, we will work on that. Let's try and make sure we at least get that initial letter finished. The full guiding document and decision-making document to start with, and then we will do that. Sean, correct me if I'm wrong. While I know we have to make our decision on the report and approve the report as a vote, can we take a vote on the approval of the cup in general and then still proceed? Or should we?
This is what I would recommend. Call a vote right now, what your decision is. Last week you took a straw poll, whatever. The draft language that was created was predicated on the thoughts of last week. If you start with the letter without a decision, you're putting the whole barn before the horse. So
agree. That's what I want to do it too.
Yes. So next step is to make your official vote. And with that in hand, then we can move on with the letter.
Okay, great. That's I thought was the plan too. So with that in mind, can I get a motion for a vote to deny, approve, or approve with conditions the conditional use application for the Coffin Butte landfill? Yes.
So
And you
moved.
can't abstain. You have 4 options. Just to
I cannot
include
bring the
abstain.
motion. I actually need someone else to bring the motion.
So Charlie,
I move it. I so move.
Okay.
So we just need a second, right?
Second.
Yay.
I will make a point of order. Is there any further discussion that would like to happen with the people that we are present? We've seen the report. We have most of that content. More of it will be forthcoming. And I think we'll have to have another meeting to make sure that that's all in order. Unless we get it done today, but there's a potential. And yeah, any other discussion, comments? People want to make anything? Okay. I'll call the vote. Those, and as mentioned from Sean, those in favor of approval for the cup, please put a hand up and let me see it. Okay. Those in favor of approval with conditions as articulated in our report, pending, please put a hand up. And Kit. And those with a vote for denial of the cup. Five. And those abstaining from the vote. Ignoring staff, of course, obviously. I see none. Okay, I believe that's 5-1 with the cup being denied from NRAC. All right, we have a vote. Let's make a letter to communicate that to the planning commission. Sean, I believe you have a draft document with some decent language content that we can then start to modify as needed. Please all take a look at this. See if there's anything you'd like to have it sound different. There's a few things that I think I would like. And we can also discuss how we want to do that. As previously mentioned, I do think something like we agree on this letter that says we've all agreed upon to present this information. That said, Associate Ankit, if we want to sort of include language that helps make sense of, we all agree that these topic areas are of concern that lead to a recommendation, include those with conditional recommendations or indeed denial. I understand that our final denial is what is carried, but we can get to a place where we can sort of say both at the same time, I think, even though we have what language is in front of you. So wordsmithing is fun. Sydney.
Yeah, the first thing is, isn't NRAC like natural resources, not natural areas?
I was talking with our, I
In the
was talking to
document.
Jesse. Sorry.
Thank you.
No, thank you. I was talking to Jesse, our director of natural areas, and just went beep. Thank you, Sydney.
Happens to the best of us.
Yep. I'm sure James is laughing. Can I, since we created this, I'm not guiding anything. I'm just giving context, and also to reiterate both what Charlie and James had said about this is really what they're going to look at, to be totally candid. And if they're going to get hundreds and hundreds of pages of testimony, so just letting them have. The way that we drafted this language was short and sweet. That's almost verbatim with SWAC. It's just the facts, ma'am. Any of the rows that had severe concerns, or that person wants to recommend denial, that's where I came up with these. If it didn't have anything, I didn't. I'm just sharing how this was crafted.
I think
And
we
then-
need water pollution in there.
And there's a good question of like, do we want to combine a few of these, at least in this section, to be like water pollution and leachate and runoff concerns, kind of a thing. Could be a good way of doing that. Or we could leave them as separate concepts, and I do think that is important to consider.
I think leachate should be its own section because it doesn't just like affect water.
That's fair. Was it water pollution or water runoff, Charlie?
I think for me, it's a concern for the water pollution, and it's not just there, it's everywhere. So it goes.
Yeah.
All of the places our water goes. That's a
As a-
zone issue.
Just a process, I copy and pasted it from your report. And that's why that's the only reason why we use the same exact language, and we're not coming up totally down with, commas and, aggregating to make it shorter. I think that the planning commission would appreciate that. But I'm giving you background of where these words came from. They came from you.
I think keeping them a little bit more separated and referenceable in this sort of format is better too. So.
In the section below, what does still mean?
I was
Still.
that too.
It was just
It's just a word. I think some more language about the major topics, something reads something to the effect of the following major topics are articulated further in our report following, and are those primary issues of concern that led to the NRAC decision.
Are you saying in addition to this, or delete this?
No, as the sentence leading up to that first list.
Okay,
I think you
So
could
then-
leave that at, oh,
We could also.
ahead. Okay,
Or
you give me,
move it to the top or something, just so it's like seen first.
okay. Jason, say it again.
Let me try and get it. What is that? The following major topics are articulated further in the report following, and these are the primary issues of concern that led to NRAC's decision.
A little slower. The following major topics are articulated further.
In the following report, in the report following.
But just the attached report.
There we go.
It's all going to be one. It's all going to be one document.
Sure.
So I would just say in the report, was it following in the following report and are articulated further in the following report and issues of concern that led include. Is this what everyone agrees to?
And these issues of these are the issues of primary concern.
You can probably take out the include.
While you're deliberating, James, little help, brother. I took that from SWAC. Is that good?
Yeah, let's see the members. You may want to bold and underline the word deny to draw attention to it.
Members, okay?
Because that's that's as far as they'll read, right?
Pretty much. Okay, I just want to make sure, James, that this is clear enough. I'm from the school of less is more. So
Yeah.
Okay, wait, I have one suggestion. Like, if we really wanted them to look at our report more, we could say like Benton County Planning Commission to deny blah blah blah, and then we could say, but we highly recommend you look at the following report or something. I don't know.
I like that. We highly recommend.
I'm not going to.
I know. I just
Being honest.
I was thinking, well, so one of the things I was thinking of, and it could bear that fruit somewhat, is like we pick one or two areas and provide a 1-sentence articulation of some of that material, just to provide context for saying air pollution here. That will still make a fairly long list, and then we can move some parts of that around. There's a lot of options here. It's do whatever we want. I agree that they're not going to want to read past a page, and we have a lot of pages here.
Yeah.
That said, we don't have a lot of detail here, and it'd be nice to provide some detail about each of these little, lines. I don't think we should go past a line for any of them, but it might help to have a little bit more than just a section reference.
Yes, I think like clarity.
Yeah.
What do we mean? What's the difference between air pollution and methane emissions?
Right.
Methane emissions are a type of air pollution.
Correct.
What are we talking about when we say the difference between water pollution and leachate? Since I think the water pollution is going to come mainly from the leachate. I mean, there might be some trash blowing around.
There's
But-
other stuff, leakages, potential, unclear amounts of, there's a lot of stuff in the report. Let's see if we can take a stab at making like a line after each, like make a dash, Sean, after each line. I don't actually know that it helps to have this NRAC members identify the following topics in the planning commission. Like this second section is kind of vague sauce. I think we can just combine that, save the space, and then suggest what those actually mean. Those are important still considerations. I think we just put them all together. What do you think about that, folks?
Jason, I have one question real quick, and it's mostly just to spur talk is how are these two sections different? And how
That's
is
my point.
regional impacts in the first section different from regional impacts and coordination in the second?
Yeah,
I can answer
I don't-
that. I can answer that. And reviewing, these are issues that people, at least in the report that you wrote, did not lean toward your decision to deny.
right.
Like it was a comment was rates are going to go up. So that's not going to help you deny. So James, thank you so much for that. These are issues someone wrote in here, I'm looking right here, that there's going to be additional miles of trash trucks going somewhere else. So these, in reading, were issues that you all came up with that weren't enough for you not to vote to deny, but these are still impacts.
Yeah.
That's why I put it in. And then Jason, Sydney, and I, this is for full disclosure, just because we have other people up the line. That's where we came up with it. So James, that's why. So I didn't know if that was helpful to the planning commission or not, but that's the rationale. Members, you do you. But I would recommend not to include those because you said the opposite. This is not why you voted to deny.
That is noted. I wonder if our current language, the following major topics articulated further, are issues of primary concern, still holds in our recommendation. Whether or not we denied or approved with conditions may not have a lot of bearing on that they're still areas of issues of primary concern. What do people think about that? I hear what you're saying, Sean. I agree with how that's how you got here. I wonder if it's worth making that significant.
That's your call.
separation.
Yep. This is why it's called draft language.
Yeah.
When we're asking the planning commissioners to consider this second batch, to consider it in their decision to approve or
Right.
it's what are they considering?
Yeah. We want them to consider all of these in our recommendation.
Folks,
So
it's
I don't know.
that simple.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
no, keep
I
those
like
sections
that.
until we have them all. I think we should just put all of these in the same list and have the same list.
Okay, then that would be just this list.
Okay, so all those are all included here? Really?
No, I'm saying again, you did not all of these did not help you get to deny. These are
I
the
don't
things
know
that
about that actually. I think a lot of things are included in the denial. The denial is a simple reduction
Right.
of the vote.
correct from here, but from your comments, like I'm
I
right
understand
here.
what you're saying, Sean. I understand what you're
Okay.
saying. I think
Uh,
we should keep the list to be one thing, and the thing that carries it is the issues of primary concern that led to our recommendation.
Right. Yes.
But I think we should keep all of those that you already just deleted.
Yeah, I agree. Just because there wasn't comments on it doesn't mean that it didn't change like
Right. There's
my idea
the
because
combination of many different things, even if they're not a denial, does not constitute necessarily that they aren't considered as part of the denial.
I have a problem with a couple of those in the second lot that appears and disappears. For example, it disappeared again. Oh,
Nope.
okay. Waste transport when when the landfill reaches end of life. Is that a reason to deny?
That's what I'm saying.
That
That's-
on impacts to ratepayers and fees.
Okay.
Are we saying that the denying will stop that from happening, or that second batch,
We're
I think
saying
should go away.
We're saying these issues of concern led us to our recommendation.
I don't
Yeah.
think we did. I don't see how waste transport, when Coffin Butte reaches end of life, is part of our decision to deny.
Yeah, the transport one is a little bit funky. I agree, but I think like sustainable materials management affected my view and like impacts to ratepayers as well.
I agree that there's some nuance there that needs to be captured. Is there a way that we can change the sentence preceding this list that could accommodate both, or is that helpful? We could change it to be like, these are all of our areas of primary concern.
Can you just say that?
Leave
these
off the
were all
recommendation part.
Considered? All of these things were considered.
Yeah. And we
And
have
it
more
won't-
articulation. for this
Doesn't
kind of
pull
conversation.
out that it was issues of primary concern. It just says they were considered.
Yeah, I was also thinking like instead of putting just like a list of all these issues, if we can write a sentences of each and then like not make a I know there's an interest of space and time for the like a bigger commission to read all these things, but if we can make a paragraph out of it, like a very nice and compact paragraph that will include all this list instead of putting a list, then maybe we can include more without writing a longer list.
I think the list is helpful because it does coordinate with our report. I hear what you're
I
saying.
agree with that. Yeah,
But I
yep.
think having some articulation of detail for each of these lines would be nice.
Yeah, it's also a bigger way. I'm also saying like I don't totally like follow the just the heading of the list because if we're just talking about the impact to the local residents and community, what kind of impact are we talking about? Is it positive impact or negative impact? It's not self-explanatory, right? So
no, none of this is. That's the problem.
no, the thing is like air pollution is self-explanatory for sure. Like water pollution is, methane emission is, but some of the other points like social impact, I don't think that's a very like self-explanatory. Even economics or regional impact. So I think for the interest of clarity and like explanation purpose, like either we need to put an executive on in front or back, maybe like negative impact or like something like that. I don't know, but maybe that could be helpful too, right?
I hear what you're saying. I don't think that any one of these, like the methane emissions section itself, is not self-explanatory. Like, of course, there are going to be methane explosions. Maybe they're all bad, but like the comment I made about methane emissions is complicated, at least. And so I think all of these can bear out that complication. And there's the only other place to put all of that complication is in the report. Can we summarize enough of that for each of these lines so that we, make it short and sweet and then have that commentary? Do they need to be separated into, here's some areas that are complicated and that's why they're on our list of considerations, like we kind of had it, like Sean had suggested. I think leaving them to speak for themselves is not the best plan. I think we need to have some detail, at least in very short space. I think is the best idea too.
Is this sorry, is this something that we would want to like create a subcommittee to like type up?
That was one of the options. The subcommittee could draft that language. We have time to do that as well. We could also do that either as subcommittee or as part of next meeting, or I don't know. It does sound like deliberation to provide summary of our report into these little pockets here for the group memo. Sean, thoughts on that?
I can check with our council. I'm trying to, well, you all provided me individual, yeah, if you're presenting a draft, if it has to be 3 or less people, either from scratch or from this. Yes, because that's, yeah, I think that'd be permissible. And then you come back with that
And then we would have to approve that for sure. Yeah, definitely.
and share it, and it have to be 24 hours in advance. That's why I would need it by Monday at noon. Make sure the public is aware of what that is. You've already decided what your decision is. That's the big one. And now if you're just crafting what this is,
Gotta make the report look nice and make sense.
yeah.
And be effective in what we wanted to say. So yeah.
Um,
I'm
yeah,
fine to suggest that we make a subcommittee and hash it out over the weekend. I think that could be a good plan and use of time.
Unless we wanted to just do that right now.
Yeah, so I had thoughts on words and recommendations. The reason you see that Teams message was to Sean was to just make sure that we're not steering. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
again, taking your wording that you guys have here, the following sentence is kind of what I proofed up, and this is open for interpretation, open for whatever you guys would like. It says the following major topics which are discussed in greater detail in the accompanying report were key considerations that inform NRAC's recommendation. Each reflects a significant negative impact that was identified and assessed in the event that the proposed landfill expansion were to be approved. And Sean has the verbiage that he could probably
Yeah,
post up there. So again, I'm not trying to direct, sway, or anything of that nature. I'm just trying to wordsmith.
I'm not seeing it.
I think something like that could be like a more straightforward and like concise way to say that they're negative impacts. I just don't know if there's any that we want to like change around.
It is noted from Michael's comments and others that let me get it back up here.
James, can you email that to me?
Sure. And Jason, I'm happy to send this to you if you want to get in an email form too.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I'm gonna say about that. The some of those sections, like Michael mentioned, is like waste transport is not necessarily a negative impact. It needs to happen, more or less, I think is sort of the crux of that. But how we articulate that here might help. So we could even say significant impact that was identified and assessed in the event of the proposed expansion were approved.
Oh, it looks like, yeah, got it.
Yeah. I think we just strike negative impact and just say impact, and suggest that these were all impactful in our decision, and that might accommodate those sort of quasi impacts to ratepayer fees. May or may not be negative depending on the perspective presented in the report.
Yeah, I agree. Yep.
Yeah. Can we get that sentence you just deleted back? Because there was a part in there about our reporting. Yeah, articulated further in the following report. Keep that part. Okay,
Right.
that there. Gotcha.
John, it is to be approved.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I was like, it's saying it's wrong. I can't do English.
It's fine. I was the one who wrote it up.
Okay.
I like that better. I do think having some further detail on these lines to provide context would be helpful. Do people want, I'm willing to have a subcommittee. I'm willing to be on it and do some of that this weekend. Can I get one or two other people to support that? Sydney, Charlie, anyone?
Yeah, I have a little bit of time. I can help out.
I only have a little bit of time too, but I
Okay.
think we could probably do that fairly quickly.
Yeah.
I would hope to, because yeah, definitely.
I am confident that Jason and Sydney can do a good job.
Thanks so much for your approval, Michael. I appreciate that. Okay, I think, do we want to, from detail, I think that can accommodate anything else we need to change this letter. Is there anything else major that needs to go into this letter? Otherwise, I think we send this to subcommittee. We'll provide some additional detail and summary of the report sections to elucidate these impacts. And then we can bring that to meeting next week. This will be due no later than noon on Monday, you say, Sean? I think that's accommodate. I'll work with Sydney about a time to meet. We'll probably do it remotely as well. And we will present that to you so we can corroborate and collect all that together. And then next meeting, we can make one more final pass of the material to make sure it's all present as being sent to Planning Commission. And I think that's it. Did I miss anything?
I don't think so. I wanted to mention that I'm on a DSAC subcommittee that has to wordsmith something over this next following week that is already related to this, because DSAC actually wants to make a comment to the Planning Commission, but they're not asked to weigh in at all, and so I'm already on a subcommittee, and I felt like probably my
It
hand.
sounds like your contribution will be accommodated and submitted, so that sounds good.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Can I,
Does that go pathetic, Sean?
yeah, I just want to, I am here for you. I am your staff. Our as Bailey and James can say, we're under a lot. And I just wanted to make sure that whatever is sent on Monday is to be considered, and that next Wednesday is nothing more than who has heartburn with this. You've already voted, and there could be a 15-minute meeting if you want it. I mean,
I agree with that too.
I just want to make sure that everyone is here, read it. The only addition that I have is you, Jason, to tell me what language, because I still can't see the difference of what you just sent me as part of the report.
Okay.
So the letters are done, the additional comments complete, decision on the report is complete, except for, Jason, your changes and the intro letter. And then that's it. I can make it all look spiffy. And then next week is you all will review, come in with any comments you have. Ideally, you can email it to me so we can just plow through this. And it's nothing more than, I mean, you've done the hard part. It's just making sure that it's just a quick review, and it's a quick meeting. You all approve, and then we go.
Yeah. Part of it is that because I don't know what report you are currently looking at, and I can't see it because you have it. I
Gotcha.
don't know what you've changed. So if you have to,
Yep.
if you want to send it back to me, I can review it and make sure that
Yep.
it's correct. I don't know. So yeah.
Okay, that sounds good.
Okay. Let's
And
do
I
that.
could put that in red.
Sounds good. Let me check a look at my agenda and make sure I didn't miss anything else. Anything else from other folks?
Yeah, I just wanted to give a heads up that I'll not be able to present in the next meeting. I have another commitment on Wednesday. So, yeah, Like we as a one team, like NREC team has one voice, so I'm okay with that. So let's go ahead.
You've lodged your vote for the approval or denial, so that's recorded. We'll make sure not to ignore your comments otherwise, but I appreciate that too.
Great.
Just take another quick sense of it. If anybody else wants to include another sort of personal memo to the appendix, please make sure to send that to Sean as needed if you have any other changes to what you've seen so far as included. And then, yes, I do believe next meeting should be pretty short. I'll work with Sydney on finding a time to meet this weekend, and we'll hash out that rest of the letter, and we'll call it good. Anything else? I think that's all I have.
Motion to adjourn.
Second,
Anyone opposed? Very good. Thank you, everyone. Much appreciated, Sean, James. Your
Thank you.
insights are very valuable. Thank you, everyone, for attending and participating. And
Sounds
look forward to seeing you again soon.